Hello, students. Today we are going to be talking about Day of the Dead, better known as Dia de los Muertos, and we are going to be drawing skulls that we then decorate to look very much like these little guys that you see on the sides of my beginning slide. So let's start off really quickly talking about what Dia de los Muertos is. It is a holiday where family members who have died are celebrated, not just remembered. It's a very positive, fun day that happens the day after Halloween, and it's a very, very common large festival, particularly in Mexico. It is a period of fun, life, happiness, food. Once again, it's celebration. It's not sad. And it's also not affiliated with Halloween, and it also is nothing like any funerals that you would see in traditional American culture. On this day, there's usually a whole bunch of outdoor markets that sell lots of fun treats and colorful items, candles, paper puppets, pottery. Most importantly of all is the symbol of the skull that you'll see everywhere, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Marigolds are the most common flower that are used a lot for Dia de los Muertos. So here are some of the little sugar skulls that are really commonly seen on the day. They're really bright and colorful, and we're going to do something like this, but even more colorful and fun. So why skulls, right? You probably are either thinking of Shakespeare holding a skull saying to be or not to be, or you're thinking of Halloween where it's creepy and death. Well, the skull is the most important symbol for this Mexican holiday because it actually symbolizes the soul. Characteristics that you'll see decorating these skulls, which, by the way, aren't always super realistic, so you don't have to be nervous about being able to draw a skull beautifully, and I'm going to guide you through it anyways. But the most important part of this is the really, really colorful patterns and designs that decorate it. Notice that they're really, really dense. They use a whole bunch of different lines and shapes, and once again, color is very important. Color, 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 color. Symbols that you will commonly see are roses or other types of flowers. Remember that the carnation is a good one to use. Repeating patterns are great, and they usually circle around the eyes or nose. You will also see crosses and ivy. Once again, there's roses on here. Here's a really bright, crazy example. You can go this far if you'd like to also decorate your background. You can put things inside of the eye cavities, or you can leave them empty. It's up to you, but I do want for you to use color and pattern everywhere in a really nice, thoughtful way. So here's one more beautiful example. Notice that while this one doesn't look as crazy as the last one, it does still have elements on all of it, and it uses a lot of color. Cool. Now you can get extra crazy with your design if you want to have a theme of some sort, if you want to draw particular instruments or dance shoes, or if you want to have a particular type of flower, if you want to draw spiders and spider webs. It's up to you. I want for you to make it really special and personal to you. And once again, color is key. So now let's switch over to our actual setup, and I will show you how to get started. All right, guys, so what you are going to need for this project is paper. Obviously, for filming purposes, mine is long, but you probably want for yours to be tall. A pencil, obviously, and then if you have fun, colorful markers, go ahead and pull those out along with some color pencils. Cool? Now, you might not have a set as big as mine, and that's totally okay. We're going to talk about color later, but first let's talk about how to actually draw a skull. And this part is very important. Now, I like that you guys are actually going to draw the skulls yourselves, because that way there'll be a little bit of variation between skulls. So if there's something I do in my drawing that you think like the nose hole should be smaller or the teeth should be a little different, you of course can change them. This is a nice template for you to use to actually decorate on top of. So don't be afraid of making some small changes. That being said, don't go crazy and off the rails. So first thing we're going to do is draw a nice soft line straight down our page that we can erase later, very important. And then we're going to draw a nice circle. Notice I'm being super sketchy and light, very, very light, where I want for the main head of my skull to go. The jaw is going to come off of the bottom here, so that's why I'm leaving that space there. So speaking of jaw, let's go ahead and make a little mark where I want for my jaw to end. That's the chin right there. And I'm going to draw 2 angled lines like this. And then I'm going to draw 2 straight lines connecting up to that circle I originally drew, like this. Cool. If you make this jaw really small, it's going to look like a funny little baby skull. If you make this jaw really big, it's going to look like an old man. So you can do that if you want to be a little weird with it, but I recommend trying to get it around this size. Okay, so now that we have done that, we are likely going to draw a line cutting through our circle a little lower down, not halfway, but a little lower. And on there, we're going to draw really big circles for the eye cavities. Cool. We do not want to make these too small. It'll look really funny. And we're probably going to want to draw flowers or something inside of them. So it's actually good to make them bigger than you think they should be. Once again, we're still drawing very lightly. You should be able to erase these lines without like ripping a hole in the page. So if you've drawn really heavy, try to draw light and soft. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw an upside down heart. If you are really stressed out about this, you can flip your whole paper upside down and just draw a heart here for where the nose hole goes. The reason why we're drawing a heart shape is because if you feel the tip of your nose, you realize that a lot of it in here is cartilage. And that means that a skull doesn't have the cartilage, it only has the bone. So it actually ends up looking like this. So there's my upside down heart. I like to round it out a little, but if you want to make it extra pointy at the top, you can. Cool. And now what we're going to do, now that we have the eyes and the nose, we're going to be able to find the cheekbones a little bit better. So I'm going to make a nice swoopy line that goes like this. From here, swooping up and around. Boop. Now our skull has cheekbones, yay! Now something really weird that skulls do is they have little indents here on the sides. So we're also going to draw those by going from this edge of our circle that we drew before and going down and then up and around. Once again, the circles that you drew for your eye holes are importante. So make sure that you have those before you're moving on to these steps. So same thing on this side, I want for things to be symmetrical. So what I've done on this side, I now need to flip and do on this side. So down and around, just like, oop, it's not really symmetrical. I'm drawing kind of dark, so it's going to be a little hard for me to fix that. There we go. Cool. Now what I can do is I can actually trace this light circle that I drew for the top of the head. And sometimes it bumps out a little bit more on the sides than you think. Cool. All right, so now we have the top part of our head. It's starting to come together. If yours isn't looking like mine, don't be afraid to erase and make the changes that you might need to. I'm going to draw these little lines here. And then coming out of here, I'm going to draw these lines because your teeth are almost like half of a cylinder sitting inside of here. If you have a retainer or braces, you probably realize that that shape shows that you have like a little rounded piece sitting inside of your mouth there. So we're going to decide where we want for our teeth to go. I'm going to draw very lightly first, a line here, and then I'm going to connect it. Now a really good idea is to use this center line to draw your first 2 teeth that are going to fit right here. Don't draw your teeth too small. They'll look really funny if you draw them really small. And now I'm going to stack more teeth on this side. and more teeth on this side. If you are a crazy person and you want to count your teeth in your mouth and try to reflect that in your drawing, you are welcome to. I'm not that like meticulous with everything though, right? Now that I have the top row of teeth, I'm going to draw lines here showing where my bottom row of teeth is. Once again, I'm going to kind of figure out where I want for my bottom 2 teeth to go, and they should line up with the top ones. And then I'm going to stack these back. I want for my teeth to line up. If you want to add gems or cool patterns to your teeth, keep that in mind. If you want to black one out so it looks like it's missing a tooth, you can do that too. That'd be fun. All right. Now that we have this, we are going to make it look like there's a hole here because the bottom jaw actually doesn't solidly connect to the skull, right? That'd be super weird. While I'm talking right now, I can feel my bottom jaw is moving around while my actual skull is like one solid piece. I hope that's the case for you guys too. So you want to draw a hole right here on both sides. And then your actual jawbone is going to be this, once again, kind of curvy shape here. And curvy shape here. And now I can see from my drawing, I want to not follow my guidelines exactly that I drew really lightly. I'm going to make my chin just a little bit smaller. Once again, I'm trying to keep symmetry in mind. So what I do on this side, I need to do on this side flipped. Once you get here, feel free to pause this video for a hot second and erase a lot of the guidelines that you don't need. Erase, erase, I am erasing. All right. Now, I am cheating a little bit. I went on Google Images and I searched for Dia de los Muertos skulls. If you do not know how to spell that, it is Dia de los Muertos. Cool. So you're welcome to do that too. Now, even though you're going to look up like some skulls online, I do not want for you to copy one exactly. That would be boring and lame. All right. So I looked at some skulls online and I was like, ooh, okay, lots of flowers and like some other cool, interesting things. And now I'm going to close the computer, right? Well, actually, since you're listening to me on YouTube, you're going to go to this YouTube video and you're going to draw along with me, right? So a nice, easy place to start is decorating the eyes. So I am going to put hearts inside of my eyes, because that's what I want to do. You can do whatever you like. And then inside of those hearts, I'm going to put flowers. And then around the edges of the skull, because I saw some pictures online that I liked, I'm going to put more little petals around here. Now, I hope that you guys spend more time drawing and being careful about the decisions you're making than I do, right? This is my example. I expect for your stuff to look better than mine, frankly. So I'm just going to keep adding to this drawing and decorating a lot. I'm going to put another flower up here. And I'm gonna add some extra lines to it. I'm going to put some leaves that wrap around here because I think that's cool. At some point, you're gonna be like, okay, that's enough. But just know that most commonly, when we're in a traditional class setting, when you think it's enough, I say, keep going. More, 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 more. Especially with a project like this one, more is always better. Don't be afraid also of drawing things that are technically like going off the edge or look like they're wrapping around. That's totally fine. And notice how nicely that worked for me. And many times when I do something on this side, I then want to do it on this side. Symmetry is really, really great for this project. You don't have to do it, especially if there's something special that you're trying to accomplish. But for the most part, it does help a lot. All right, I'm starting to get somewhere. Notice I just have that top part done. And I'm still going. I'm still adding more and more and more. While you're working on this, if you're really not sure where you want things to go, you might want to start thinking about color. And of course, you do not have to use flowers. If you're like, ugh, Machina, I hate flowers, then don't draw flowers. Draw something else. Make it really cool. Make it something that you like. Overlapping is okay. See how I was going to draw that line and then I was like, oh, this is the way. I'm just going to make it look like it's going behind. That's totally okay. I'd rather you fill it with so much stuff that you have to do that than have it be like empty and boring. And I need more petals in here. All right. Okay, and I'm still going. Patterns, designs, like simple, cool shapes. All good. If you guys have seen the movie Coco, you'll know that there's a whole lot of important things behind Dia de los Muertos. If you haven't seen the movie, I recommend you go watch it. If you have Disney Plus, I'm pretty sure it's on there. We're gonna add little baby flowers right here. Baby flowers. Yay! All right. So I think that you all are totally capable of doing this. Cool? Once you get to this point, you are more than welcome to use colored markers to outline things. You obviously also can erase any lines that you no longer need or that look sloppy or you intended to erase in the first place. What we're now going to do is we're going to pull out our colored pencils. Now if you have a lot of colored pencils, I want for you to do this. I want for you to pull out red, orange, and yellow and put them together like they're buddies. I'm actually going to grab a different yellow. Red, orange, and yellow. And then I want for you to pull out green, blue, and purple and also treat them like they're buddies. The reason why we are going to do this is because these are warm colors and they're all really good friends. These are cool colors and they're all really good friends. If we place these in certain areas intentionally, they'll work really, really well together. If we go crazy Rainbow USA, it'll be hard for people to tell what it is that they're looking at in your drawing. So it's kind of nice to specifically use these carefully. Now, if you have lots of colors, pink is technically also a warm color. Silver is technically a cool color, and gold is also technically a warm color. So that way you can kind of like add to them a little bit if you want to, but it's really important that you keep them separate. So I'm literally going to have my warms on one side and my cools on the other side of my skull while I'm working. Other colors that you can use that are technically not colors are black and white. Since I don't really want for you to leave like any white in this piece, we're almost going to ignore that, but you can use black if you want to. That is okay. The one thing I'm going to say about black is use it sparingly. Sometimes it can like dominate and like destroy a piece if you're not careful about it. So looking at my drawing, I'm going to say I want for the eyes to be warm colors. And I want for this flower on the forehead to be warm colors. And maybe I want for the teeth and this flower down here to also be warm colors. Now that I know that, then I can say I want for the skull itself and some of these other pieces to be cool colors. I can also change my mind and say, you know what, I want for the eyes and the nose and the teeth to be cool colors, and I want for this background or the rest of my skull to be warm colors. That's also totally fine. So let me think. What do I want to do? Yes, I want to use warm colors for the eyes. And I'm going to start with that because that's what I feel most confident about. If for you, you feel most confident about coloring in your teeth light blue, then do that first. And then of course, because we're working with symmetry, it's a really good idea that when you color in something on one side, that you then do the exact same thing on the other side. Your skull itself is a really, really good place for you to learn how to use gradients. And I'm going to talk about that in a hot second. But first, I'm going to color in these spots solid. One thing I'm going to warn you guys about is I used a very, very dark pencil to make sure you could see what I'm drawing on here. And now when I'm coloring, it's smudging the pencil just a little bit. So I recommend that you use like a super standard regular pencil, or even a mechanical pencil is fine for while you're drawing. If it's too late, I'm sorry, but you'll probably be okay. And now I'm going to color in my actual flowers with yellow. Notice I've only used the things that are warm colors. I didn't suddenly try to make my flower blue or purple. And I'm going to color in the center. Okay, so now for this part around the eyes, I want to do a gradient. A cool way to use your gradient is to press hard on a pencil edge and softer as you go in. And notice I like to do it in sections. I don't try to do it all in one go. If I need to blend from one color to another, I'm still going to use this process where I'm going to first press hard and then softer as I travel in. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my other color going in the opposite direction. So the two colors will mix softly in the center where they meet. So it's not super obvious with the yellow. Yellow is super easy to blend and make gradients with. I think the vast majority of you guys know how to make gradients now at this point. Obviously, pop into the Zoom room or email me if you don't remember how to do it well or you're nervous about mixing colors. As long as you have your warm on one side and your cool on the other side, and you make sure you're not trying to mix like red into green, you'll be okay. All right. So I want to go ahead and grab a light blue color and start to color in some of my skull. I'm going to press hard on the edge and softer as I travel in. It can be hard when you have a lot of objects that you need to carefully work around, but you can do it. I think I'm going to break into a little bit of a time lapse right now, so it'll look like I'm doing this at super speed, and you should be taking your time on this portion. Alright guys, so here is a pretty decent example of the minimum of what I expect from you. Obviously I drew this box around that I'm hoping this is the page size you are kind of working at. If that's not the case, you can always cut down your paper. However, if you're working on traditional size paper, I'm really hoping you did it something kind of like this. Also notice that I did color in my background. The easy way to choose a good background color is to look at the color of your skull and try to pick the exact opposite color, the complementary color. So really if I was doing this exactly and I'm like, okay, my skull is blue, my background color could be dark orange, and that'd be really cool. If my skull is light green, then my background would be dark red. If my skull is yellow, then my background would be dark purple. If you're not sure what the complementary color is, come to my Zoom room and I'll explain that to you. Also, it could be kind of cool if you wanted to add stuff to your background. Even words and stuff would be really nice. Once again, if you're unsure about how to do anything, I'll be able to answer all those questions in Zoom. I would like for you, I was rushing obviously, I would like for you to have a result that is a little better than this. I want for you to really take your time and blend your colors really beautifully and choose them really nicely as well. And this project should be fun. I know coloring takes a while, so it's okay if you're like, oh my goodness, I spent a whole hour doing this and I'm only halfway through. That's all right. I hopefully gave you guys appropriate time for this project. I'm pretty sure we have 3 classes. So yeah, good luck, and I'll be checking in with you guys regularly. Bye.